Irfan sir.
Hi.
Hello sir. Thank you so much. Welcome to JarXchange.
Thank you.
कोच सर बुलाएंगे आपको.
नहीं कुछ भी बुलाए. That's fine. Don't be very formal.
Sir, all the successful cricketers will come. मैं आपको पूछूंगा उनके बारे में because मैं भी fan हूँ उनका. But क्या आप ये बोल सकते हो कि जब वो यहाँ पे खेल रहे थे तब आपको पता लग गया था कि ये तो जाने वाले हैं आगे बहुत.
I would be lying if I say yes, I knew.
Okay.
We knew what. See, we always keep looking at who's got the little bit of spirit, the flair, the little bit of extra thing in them. We keep looking out for, but then the boys sometimes boys and girls sometimes they start very modest and then they have a huge change. There's sudden change when they flourish and they blossom. And there are some like Robin who always looked good through his enthusiasm, through his interest, to his keenness, like how he was saying, sir, can I bat here? Can I play this bowler? He's only 10 and 11 years of age and he's asking for, things, he wants to be challenged. So you feel that there's something extra in him. Likewise, Manish Pandey. I remember when we had just started, Manish, I think he was 7-year-old, always a smile on his face. He loved his cricket, he loved his batting, he loved whatever he did on the cricket field, he was always smiling. And I remember one instance very clearly where, I was umpiring that kids game, under 10 game, where it looked like he knew how to take a single, 5th or the 6th ball at that age. So you feel this boy is different, he's something special. And I take a lot of pride in this, that year, although he was so young, he was only 7, there was that convocation that we had at the end of the summer camp. We awarded him the most promising cricketer when there were so many others, 12, 13, 16, 16-year-olds. But we awarded Manish Pandey as the most promising cricketer. He proved us right and I think I'm ever so grateful to him. So this kind of things do happen that we feel that XYZ is good. But we have also had so many surprises, both ways. One that we think is going to be very good and we've been let down. And there have been some times, oh, this boy or girl,
Child prodigy
doesn't have, but then they go on to prove us wrong. And we are pleasantly surprised. We rejoice that, we didn't think much of him, but see how well they've worked their way up. So we've had both ways where we have we are hoping that this kid will do well, has not done well, and some kid who didn't look really smart in the beginning has gone on to do very big things.
And sir, your thoughts on women's cricket these days?
Well, I'm very, very proud. I take a lot of pride in saying this, that when nobody wanted to do a cricket coaching center for women, I wanted it. I wanted to do it. I wanted to be a part of it. We were definitely, without any doubt, we are the pioneers of women's cricket organized coaching. Maybe that little thing came to me from my visits to Australia. That's how this academy started. So where I saw that women are being treated on par and they've got all the facilities and they train just the way the men do. And I always had that thing, even when this academy didn't exist, we had a club practice. I was integrally a part of Swastik Union. So the club practice allowed girls to come and train with us. Lot of people didn't like it, that okay, how can men's association, how are the girls being entertained, their distraction or whatever their thoughts were, I don't know. But there were lots and lots of objections coming from some senior people there.
ये कौन से year की बात है sir?
I'm talking about 91, 92, or maybe 1 or 2 years earlier. The first of them who came and joined practice with the boys was Mamta Meben and Pramila Bhatt. Both of them went on to captain India. I had to fight tooth and nail, I had to request, I had to fight, I had to argue to let them play along with the boys. And both of them made me extremely, extremely proud by going on to lead India. They captained India.
So you're saying you had to do things and go against some people to get them
Yes.
practice. Yeah.
There were objections. They said, how can you allow girls
तो
to
उस
come?
टाइम पे नहीं था, कोई क्लब नहीं था इंडिया.
कोई नहीं था, उनका वो था. They were doing it separately. They had some central facility at
You're saying organized coaching center नहीं था.
There was no organized coaching center, and the girls at some point, I believed, and they realized that if they have to upgrade themselves, they have to be challenged, they have to play with slightly better cricketers than just the women cricketers to fast track themselves. So they wanted this opportunity. So when Mamta approached me and Pramila Bhatt started practicing with us, I welcomed them. But you know how, call it male chauvinism or whatever you want to call it, but then there were huge objections.
Also the times were different, right?
Times are different. Not for me. I was all right. I said, yeah, it's all everybody's game. Nobody has the ownership on this. And then when the time came to start my academy, I definitely said, I want to have a women's wing for sure. At that point of time, of course, the fees were very less, but still there not many who could afford.
Sir, कितना था fees?
I think it was 6,000 rupees for the summer camp. And for the full year it was, if it is 7 days a week, 12,000 rupees a year
90s में.
for the academy there when we started. So that is how it was. So we entertained girls whether they paid or didn't pay. But today it's not the money, but the kind of returns we get by way of recognition, happiness, satisfaction, joy, all these things. No money can buy this. Karuna Jain, she was, I think, 10 years or maybe less, I don't remember. Maybe less than 10 years. She was a national level roller skater. She came in, and today she just recently retired from cricket. She was the vice captain of Indian team, opened the batting for India, kept wickets for India. Today she's a very, very successful coach. Now these are the kind of things which, when you are done with the day, it gives you good sleep. I don't have to struggle. I'm so happy. I'm a happy man. I go to sleep well.
सर थोड़ा कोचिंग इंफ्रा के बारे में समझाएंगे इंडिया के. What are the levels? How can one become a coach? Do only ex-cricketers become coaches?
I'm not an ex-cricketer to begin with. Yeah, I played cricket. I played a lot of cricket, but at club level. Wherever I went, I was in Chennai, I played, I was in Mumbai, I played, I was in Bangalore, I'm playing. So it's a passion. Of course, in India, being passionate about cricket, you know, it's very common. Everybody loves the
बहुत
game.
ज़्यादा, हाँ जी.
It's, you know, it's in our DNA or whatever you like to call it. I was as keen as anybody else, but there is a stage when someone has to stop. The age catches up, then instead of being pushed out, you would rather step aside. But I didn't want to get disconnected to the game.
You wanted to be connected with sports.
I wanted to continue. I wanted to do something with the game because I thoroughly loved it. Because for me, it was a way of life. It was just not a sport. It was a way of life. So the best way I thought was, if I to stay connected, if I start coaching. Now I was looking here and there if there were some coaching opportunities, but then I thought, why look here and there? I can do it on my own. I can start, because by virtue of being the captain of a side those days, the captain of any club was the coach, the manager, was everything. The selector, he was one man doing everything. That was how cricket clubs were running. So I was giving inputs to my players, I was guiding them, I was, whatever one coach could do, I was already doing it in a very small way. And then with my club, Swastik Union, we travelled to Australia. While others were looking around, maybe sightseeing, pub hopping, whatever, me and I had my two little kids, the twins. So we went academy hopping. We visited different centers. We wanted to see how it goes on. My children were also keen cricketers. They also wanted to play. They were very small though, but they were very much into cricket. So we said, let's look around and what's happening. When I saw there, I realized they have a structured method of coaching. They have a pattern, and there was everything in the sport that could be explained. So I think I caught the bug there. I said, why don't we do something like this here?
उस टाइम पे एनसीए और ये सब था इंडिया में?
Nothing.
कुछ
It
नहीं था।
is 90, I'm talking about 96. This was January 1996 when we were in Australia. As soon as I came back, there was the World Cup camp here, 96 World Cup camp in Bangalore. I was very friendly with Azharuddin and a lot of other cricketers, so I got involved. I was assisting the camp here. So I got a lot of opportunities to give them some fielding practice and running the net and all that. Ajit Wadekar was the coach. He had just recovered. He was out of a heart ailment, so he was not stressing himself too much. Me and I had an assistant called Srinivas Pawar. The two of us literally ran the camp, unofficial. We were not appointed, but we were listening through the KSCA. So we did all the setting up, everything, the logistics, everything, the two of us were managing. At that time, I got to learn a lot. And now, since I had that thing of having a structured academy or whatever in Bangalore, so we were already looking for a place where you could set it up. I took a lot of input from Azhar and all of them. People asked me, you haven't played any international cricket. Do you think you can coach? I said, I think I can because I've really been doing it, but in a very unofficial or unorganized manner. I've been doing it for the last so many years by virtue of being a captain. I've been giving so much inputs, and my club has done fantastically well. Fantastically well. My boys have progressed, and they've gone on. So many of them have gone on to play at a very good level. So I think I'm confident. But when we started the academy, I faced the same hiccups. People would ask, have you played? How do you say that you have, the abilities or the capacity to coach? The notion was only the former cricketers, those who have played.
अभी भी बहुत लोग बोलते हैं जब मैं बात करता हूँ.
So I used to tell them offhand, see, a judge doesn't have to be a criminal to know what crime is. A doctor doesn't have to be a patient himself to know what the ailment is. I used to, this off-the-cuff things, I used to respond, but it used to hurt me a lot. So, no, I'm not being really accepted. So I was looking around for opportunities to do some courses and get qualified, at least like how a doctor or a lawyer or whoever, they have a degree or a certification which says he or she is so and so. We didn't have any coaching courses in India at that time, 96. The first opportunity came in 2001-2002 when the NCA began in Bangalore. Brijesh Patel was the head of it, and I requested. But they said first, the former cricketers, they have to get the certifications. Your time will come. And I waited. I waited a bit. So my time came in 2004. 2004, I was already 8 years into the academy. But I had to patiently wait. There was no choice. But once I did the level 1 course, I realized there's lots more to learn in this game. If you have to answer some tricky questions, if you have to understand some complex issues, you need to have the theoretical knowledge of the sport. Now, level 2, again, I had to wait here, and there was so much, and then I kept on applying and applying everywhere. I applied in England, I applied in Australia, and at one point of time, I had got into the Women's Cricket Board of India. It was called Women's Cricket Association of India, WCAI, and I was the joint secretary. I requested the office bearers there if they can nominate. So through that channel, I was fast-tracked into level 2 coaching in Australia.
Did you notice a stark difference between the facilities and the everything?
Well, it's only this that their presentations were different. Our tutors here in India were again foreigners only when it started. It used to be foreigners. I remember for the level 1 course here in India, we had John Bradley and Jane Powell coming from from England. Now, then there were some assistant coaches, assistant tutors and all of them. But that was just the basic level 1. But when I did the level 2, it was an overseas course. Therefore, I had in my batch, a batch of 30, there were different people from 7 or 8 different countries. So that interaction helped me a lot. And then I, for one, I never compared what was there in India, what is here in Australia. I'm just open to, the content of the course. And it was giving me a lot, day by day. I remember first 3 days, I was not, to be honest, I was not treated well.
Okay.
In the sense, nobody spoke to me. They thought Indian, they thought, does he know English? That kind of a thing. Toot Byron was the lead tutor there. And there was one aspect, on the morning of the session, he said, if there is something that you don't know as a coach, and you've been approached to do that, or there's a need for you to do that, how would you handle that? So everyone, they had their own ways, and they said, I will go to referrals. Somebody said something. Internet was also not very, popular or common those days. Somebody said, we'll go on the net and kind of things which we are not even used to. So I put my hand up and waited patiently for my turn to come, and reluctant when he said, okay, you, I said, I would delegate. So I remember his reaction. He said, delegate, that's the word. That is it. You don't know anything. You should not try to impress. You should delegate to someone who knows the job. Can you speak on that? I said, yes, of course I can. He said, you've got 20 minutes to prepare. I said, no, I'm ready. I can speak now. After I spoke, they realized that this Indian knows English. He can speak. And then the first break that we had, that's the first time people approached me and spoke to me. They want to know what I'm doing, how I'm going about and all that. And then they asked me what I'm doing. I told them that I have this academy in Bangalore, India. And they asked me how many coaches you have, how many trainees. They said 400 trainees. What? 400? Because they had, for them it's 10, 15, 20. They're handling small groups. They said 400, I could see their eyeballs falling. And just then we had launched our website. So quickly all of them I could see they are going on the referral, they're trying to see what this Indian is doing. So I was feeling nice and comfortable at that time, because till then nobody had asked me my name, nobody had spoken to me. I didn't feel welcome at all. But now everyone's interest developed. So they started looking into what we did. By then, we had Nushin Al-Khadir had already played for India. She was our first among our international from our academy. Nushin was the first one. And then Karuna was making waves and kind of things, and Robin was coming up. Robin hadn't played for India, but he was a big name because he had played under 17, under 19, India A. He had already played all those by then. So then they started, okay, there is some substance in what I'm talking. To answer your question, which was, can non-cricketers coach? Yes, if they are passionate, if they are willing to educate themselves, find out the pros and cons, nuances of the game, if you're thorough with it, why not? Any layman can also become a coach, provided he prepares himself on these lines. And then you get to the cricketers becoming
coaches.
Fine, they have the edge over me because they have the practical experience. They've been there and done that. But will they be able to put it in words? Will they be able to look at an aspect like I do? I don't see from here, I see from here. So it depends. They might be.
Yeah. So a good cricketer does not mean a good coach, right? That's the thing.
The problem I feel, with some, not all, some of the cricketers, they all want the trainee to be like them.
Yeah.
But in my case, I want them to be better than me. What's the use being like me? I haven't played anything. Okay, I'm just a club cricketer. So I can't expect someone to do what I did. I want them to do much better than I did. So I strive a little harder, I push a little harder. I have no issues. I have nothing, that could block me. I'm trying to goad them into, I'm giving other people's examples, whereas sometimes, or most of the time it happens, the former cricketer, they would say, when I played, I did this. It's not me anymore. It's what Rahul Dravid did, what Azharuddin did, what Sachin Tendulkar did, what Virat Kohli. I'm quoting them.
No, very, very good point. Very well
So
said.
it's a win-win thing. You're happy. Otherwise, so many times, it happens that the trainee, he says, oh, sir is always talking about himself. I have nothing to talk about myself.
सिलेक्टर्स का प्रेशर होता है क्या सर आप सिलेक्शंस का
Selections के time पे sleepless nights.
थोड़ा
I
बताओ ना।
promise you. Sleepless nights because it's not my child. But he's more than my child because he's trusted me. I remember one instance. There was one of these under 14 selections. There was one lad who hadn't played any cricket in the last 6 months because he had a fractured leg. Quite obviously, when the list for the zonals was announced, his name was not there because he hasn't played anything at all. They have gone through the stats and school cricket, club cricket or whatever. This kid has not done anything. He hasn't played, his name doesn't figure. But I had to plead that this boy is very special. This boy is really, really good. And somehow there was one place I saw that one boy was named in 2 teams. It was a mistake, an error. One
spot opened up.
One spot is up for grab. So I called, the selector had played with me and we knew each other very well. I said, look, this discrepancy is there. Can you accommodate him? This boy is good, I cannot promise you. He is really, really good. How old is he? 12. What is this? You're talking about a 12-year-old that is very good, very good. I said, this boy is really, really good. You just back him. You see, he'll do it. Less than 2 weeks later, selector calls me up and says, you've saved our respect. He's the only one scoring in that team. And that boy is Shivam. He played state under 14, captain under 14, 16 captain, 19 he did well. This far in all, not the practice matches, the tournaments, the local tournaments and the state matches and the school matches, all the official games he's played, he has scored 81 hundreds.
Okay.
Shivam Singh. 81 centuries he's got and he's now about 18 years of age.
सर तो इसका मतलब कितना फैक्टर लक का होता है एक क्रिकेटर की बिकॉज देयर इज सो मच ऑफ कंपटीशन एंड देयर आर ओनली वेरी फ्यू एट द टॉप राइट तो किस्मत का खेल होता है सर
Absolutely no doubt about it. You have to be lucky to be at the right place at the right time.
or have a right coach who can fight for you.
We don't know. We don't know about the coach. Coach can't do it all the time. You have to have performances. This Shivam is a one-off case. You have to have the performances, so you have to be good. So many times I've spoken to my kids that there might be a fellow who's selling bananas outside. He might be more talented than Sachin Tendulkar. He didn't have a chance.
Yeah.
You don't know. It's hypothetical. You can't prove whether he's good or he's bad. Both you cannot say. That you're getting a chance through whether it's your own passion or your parents are bringing you and you're going to the right place, you're in the right state, you're right in the right hands. It's all a matter of luck. So destiny plays its part quite certainly. There have been so many, accidental discoveries, so.
इंडिया का तो बताएं सर पाकिस्तान टीम में बोलते थे कि सड़क पे किसी को देखा लेके अब वो स्टोरीज हैं कि वो असली है
वो तो अभी रिसेंटली मैंने देखा कि बड़ा चढ़ा के बोलते हैं पाकिस्तान में बिकॉज दे डोंट हैव एनी डॉक्यूमेंटेशन देयर सो दे डोंट हैव
उस टाइम बोलते हैं कि शोएब अख्तर भी वैसे बहुत सारे क्रिकेटर्स के बारे में बोलते हैं जो कि फास्ट बॉलर्स कहाँ से लाते हैं पाकिस्तान में बोले सड़क से लेकर आई डोंट नो इफ दैट वर्क्स लाइक दैट
नो बट just a little later, he gives an interview that he was playing here or playing there. He played in Derbyshire and all that. Some stories are made spicy by just
after the
concocting. So just take it with a pinch of salt. Enjoy the story at that point of time, and that's it.
Sir, ये जो पूरी debate है about Indian coaches versus foreign coaches, what is your? Do you think that Indians need to be coached by Indians so that they can be understood better? Or is there merit, Indian coaches versus foreign coaches?
I think in the beginning there was, because we didn't have a methodology to coach. But Indians, by and large, be it a player, an administrator, or a coach, we have tremendous potential. We have everything in us. But it's just this, that the foreigners, that initially in the first maybe 10 years or so, when this coaching and all that got introduced, their presentations were better. They might have been tech savvy, they did some PowerPoint presentation, whereas our Indian coaches would just talk through their heart. So they were only speakers, they were only motivators. Whereas he brought some, the foreign coach brought some technology and displayed, and they said, oh, so and so is better. They were good, no discredit to them. But the only difference I feel was the presentations. It's like a branded thing, it's packaged well and it sells for a higher price. But the product, maybe, the other product which is not packaged well might be a better product. Indian coaches, if you see now, who could motivate better than Ravi Shastri? Who could bring that respectability and that authority better than Rahul Dravid? They are absolutely wonderful. They are absolutely brilliant. But they are not showpieces. Whereas you will have a foreign coach, at least in the past, he opened up his laptop and he's always visible on
Data and everything.
They were data driven, but we don't know what he was doing. The laptop and the data was helping or not, we don't know. But the presentation, oh, so and so. Bob Woolmer, he was the first one to introduce all this. So if you have the experience, if you have the passion, I think we are streets ahead. We are streets ahead. You can see the results are proving.
Yeah.
The results are proving that Indian coaches have done extremely, extremely well.
तो आपको inside information मिलती है sir? मतलब what went wrong in the Greg Chappell era? Do you have, because you might have players who have played.
Let me tell you, I don't have any inside information, but from what I speak with the cricketers, what we gather, Greg Chappell was a little egoistic and he was an authoritarian. He wanted his way, my way or the highway. This doesn't work in sport. It doesn't work anywhere. So you cannot be enforcing a lot of things. You can't tell too many things to someone like Sachin Tendulkar.
Yeah.
You can only, if there's a repeated error, you can point out and say, can we do this a little better? Do you think this will work? And that kind of a thing. You can't say, do this. You can't say that to Ganguly. You can't say that to Rahul Dravid. They're all in a different level. So, and at some point of time, this is my reading, very, very unprofessional, or, whatever you might like to call it, he tried to take a little bit of limelight. This is something which I abhor. A coach should not try to take credit for himself. A coach should give credit to the trainee because they are the ones who have worked hard. From so many of them, just these few are shining bright. So they must have done something better. If I'm the coach, I've got so many kids. Everybody should become a Robin Uthappa. Everybody should become a Devdutt Padikkal or a Manish Pandey. It doesn't happen. It's not me. It's them. So if you try to take credit that is because of me, I did this, I said this, I made him do this, that's wrong. At some point, maybe, just maybe, I'm not sure because I've never been there physically watching what Greg Chappell was doing, but it looked like he was trying to take a little bit of limelight. He wanted to stay in the focus, and in the very, very early stages of his assignment in India, Azharuddin told me that it appears that he's overdoing this. He's speaking to the press and trying to get...
Yeah, a lot of press conferences those days. Yeah.
He said he should avoid this. He wasn't criticizing Greg, but he said this, that I think he should cut this down, give credit to the players.
Because in terms of foreign coaches, there was Gary Kirsten who had a.
He was a low-key man.
Yeah.
He did his things, and after the game time, the players were on their own. He was not restrictive. He was nothing. I mean, he let them lead their life. He just maintained the discipline, the team's prospects, and whatever it was laid down, he made sure that that was implemented, and the rest was up to the players. They loved him. Gary Kirsten was loved. So if you get to be authoritarian, I mean, after all, we are handling these superstars. You have to be, you have to give them the respect.
Yeah. ठीक है सर कुछ मोमेंट्स बताओ आपके फेवरेट मोमेंट्स. मैंने यहाँ पे इतनी सारी चीज़ें देखी अभी. देयर इज़ अ मैन ऑफ द सीरीज अवार्ड फॉर सरफराज. जब आपके जो हाउ डू आई से किड्स मतलब ट्रेनीज then they go to international level or IPL and win trophies and bring it back. What's your favorite moments from all of that? Because there are so many memorabilia.
Well, you see, just before, there's so much of doctors before the sunrise. So just before they make their break, they get their break, the anxiety, Willie, that is something which cannot be explained. We are as anxious or even more anxious than the parents of that cricketer. So when that happens, like when Robin first played, or Manish got his India cap, or so many of these girls, when they get, and they, when, let's say when Karuna Jain, when she got picked, when she called, I was there in Mumbai, I was there almost in the most of the selection process, but I had to catch a train to get back to Bangalore. I was on the way to the station when she called, sir, I'm there in the team. So those moments that, they cannot be explained. Especially now, recently, when I was in Mecca, I was praying very hard, very, very hard for Devdutt Padikkal and Sarfaraz. Both of them got their India caps. And in that same series,
सरफराज का तो बहुत टाइम से anticipated था.
From when? Can you imagine the happiness? They cannot explain. So I can't say a favorite moment, but if I say one thing which has really made me feel, yes, I was right, was women's cricket. Especially the way the WPL took off this time. When people made fun of me, इसको दूसरा कुछ काम नहीं है, दूसरे कोई मिल नहीं रहे, लड़कियों को कोचिंग कर रहा है.
ऐसा बोलते थे?
Of course. They branded me as a women's coach because I coached the Karnataka State women's team for 9 years.
Okay.
And with a lot of success. So people talk behind me, girls, women's coach. I was very happy, I was very proud, and the girls made me extremely, extremely proud. They were doing so much more better than the men's age group teams. We had 3 categories, juniors, sub-juniors and seniors in girls, whereas in men it is 14, 16, 19, 23 and the seniors. So all our age groups are doing well.
और तो Bangalore जीत भी गया.
So for me, it's a double whammy. I feel very, very happy, very satisfied that what I thought about women's cricket, these girls are proving it right. The vision that I had for them, it's all come true. When I used to say, the girls need to have power to hit. And I used to say, they need to have the power to talk back also. If they don't talk to me, how will they talk to the opponents? If they don't face me strongly, how will they face? All that has now, maybe it's taken a quarter century, but it's all come right. They're hitting the ball into the stands now.
Yeah.
When I was training power, I was criticized. What, you're wasting your time, girls can't hit, why do you get them to take single, teach them to hit the gaps.
Also look at the full stadiums now.
Look at that. So this is an absolute pleasure and a huge satisfaction that what I envisaged so many years back, that has come true. I might not be the only one. There are so many people who worked for women's cricket. For me, it is More so because I know a lot of women cricketers, former women's cricketers, they also worked. But being a man, being involved in men's cricket, I did find interesting and keen to support and work for women's cricket. That gives me a lot of satisfaction.
What do you think about IPL, sir? Is there too much cricket happening now?
Well,
Do you have players or kids coming in and saying कि मेरे को IPL team में select होना ऐसा होता है?
sad part is it's a huge tragedy that kids, parents are not talking, I want to play Karnataka, I want to play IPL, I want to play RCB.
हो रहा है ऐसा?
बहुत हो रहा है.
Okay.
A little kid, 10-year-old, runs up to me and says, my strike rate is 170. I said, how much did you score? 17 from 10 balls. So 17 runs, he's so happy because his strike rate is 170.
But that's T20 cricket, right?
But that is what is in their minds now. No one is talking averages.
But
I
sir,
can promise
ज़माना
you,
change
we
हो गया
can
है
go
ना?
around, there are more than 500 cricketers practicing now. Not one will know their average, what they've done in the last.
But isn't this the new breed of cricket? New.
It is, but it is wrong. It is bad.
सर मैं बोलता था being a cricket
See,
fan कि ये wrong है. But अब
No,
दुनिया
why
वही
today?
जा रही है ना?
What is a finisher? Finisher stays not out. He finishes the game. He has an average. He has a very good average. What do you see in IPL? You see the strike rate being flashed. Whereas if it's a Ranji Trophy or a Test match cricket, you're looking at his average.
Yeah.
Don Bradman, had he got 4 runs, he would have finished with 100 average. Today, any respectable cricketer is looked up with so much thing when he has 50 or more average. When you see a 30 average, he might have scored so many runs, but you still feel his average is not so good. So that's the kind of cricket we have grown up on,
Correct.
and it's going to come back.
Is it?
I can promise you it's going to come back.
मैं आपको पूछने लगा था कि
are
आपको नहीं
fed
लगता है
up
कि ज़माने के साथ
of
move
seeing
होना
the
चाहिए?
sixes.
I
How many sixes
lot of
can you see?
It's like 270 runs in 20 overs. Half of the people are saying कि यार is it cricket anymore? It's not. It just doesn't seem like cricket.
People, I remember.
Low scoring matches are good, interesting matches to watch.
You know, Stuart Binney one day commented that people are paying money to see the bowlers get hit. But now it's gone a full circle. It's just become too much. Imagine 20 overs, 300, 320. That's not cricket.
Correct.
It's absolutely one-sided. You might as well have a bowling machine feeding the balls there and see who's hitting.
But at the same time, you have someone like Jasprit Bumrah who's finished the season with a economy rate of 6.
Exactly what I'm saying. This is the kind of bowlers that the coaches will take up and train. Jasprit Bumrah will be an example for everybody else. Now you see suddenly you see some spinners coming into the picture. Now, if you just give them a fair pitch and a fair boundary, the bowlers will come back. They will come back. They will want to play. I have a former cricketer, I don't want to name him on this forum. He said, I don't want my child to be international bowler, international cricketer, international bowler. I don't want my son to become a bowler. They don't want their own children to be bowlers. This is the plight.
But because there is so much of limelight in IPL, is it wrong if a kid says that I want to train to become an IPL cricketer?
Well,
not everyone will play for the country eventually.
Well, I want to ask you, will a bowler come and say, I want to become an IPL bowler? Everyone is telling me strike rates.
Yeah.
You tell me about analysis, bowling analysis. How many bowlers are coming up to me? The only thing that they do about bowling is my speed, sir. They want 150 speed. It's not possible. He's a young kid. So if he crosses 100, it would be good, appreciable. But yeah, you're looking at 145, 150 plus speeds. How many bowlers are capable? Does Karnataka have anybody who bowls 150 plus? When the state doesn't have, what about the club? It's difficult to match up. It's difficult. Yes, you
Should
can strive
IPL
for
be the
it.
selection criteria for international matches?
It depends on the format.
T20?
If it's T20, why not? But again, you have to see horses for courses. Is the same kind of pitch being, now
Yeah.
in New York, in
US,
the US and West Indies, are you going to get similar pitches? If yes, why not? Rinku Singh, yes, why not? If it is the same, are the boundaries going to be the same? Why not then? They have proved themselves. So be it.
क्या लगता है सर सही टीम है T20 वाली
Maybe,
बहुत
like I
सारा चल
said,
रहा है इंटरनेट पे
yeah.
इसके बारे में
चल रहा है क्या?
Because there are
एक ही
too
तो
many-
चल रहा है,
too
एक ही
many
तो चल
crickets.
रहा है रिंकू सिंह, अभिषेक शर्मा. One or two. These one or two is always the case. Maybe Shubman Gill, whatever. So these, for the sake of argument. My question is whose place? You tell me Rinku Singh in whose place? There's only one name. Hardik Pandya, they'll say. But selectors, you can't question their wisdom or whatever is happening. It's the team, the management knows best. It's our team. It's our country. We want them to win. Whether they win with a donkey or a horse, I don't care. We want to win. Please win for us. Whether Hardik wins for me or Rinku wins for me, it doesn't matter. But I want to win.
Sir, what about technique? Like Manish Pandey has a different kind of technique, right? For me, I think a lot of people used to say MS Dhoni. मतलब मेरे आसपास सब बोलते थे कि MS धोनी की टेक्निक नहीं है, but look what is achieved, right? तो as a coach, do you see that young kids coming up with very different techniques these days? Because it has been proven, like Jasprit and Malinga and all of these unconventional things are happening, right?
You see, we have to be very clear about technique and style. Jasprit Bumrah has a different style. But where is he going wrong in technique? He's perfectly all right. His alignments are great. Everything is good. Only his style is different. Dhoni, the way he's playing, biomechanically is 100% correct. Where is he wrong? So, see, what should I say? A trained eye will see the technique. The fans and all that, they will see the style. So if you speak to a cricketer, he will tell you, no, there's nothing wrong. He's playing it correct, he's hitting with the middle of the bat, he's got a full face of the bat, elbow is high, etc., etc. His head is still, his eyes are level. What is different? What is different? Bumrah, what is different? Whichever bowler you take for that matter, Malinga was little different. That's an exception. Because he came a little round arm. But he's built like an ox. Someone who's not as strongly built, if they try to do what Malinga did, they'll never succeed. But with that, whatever Malinga was doing, he had a lot of pluses. He could get the Yorkers going. But was he effective with a bouncer? Never. Malinga.
Slower bouncers but डालने लगा था बाद में.
His bouncer was definitely not among something which a kid would want to emulate. His Yorker, everybody wanted to do. He worked on his Yorker. And coming from slinging action, the Yorker is very effective. Now a couple of Patirana and a couple of others are trying to get into that mold, but they'll never come anywhere close to him because they're built differently. So, technique, the biomechanic part of your sport remains the same. It's only the style that is different. The presentation, what meets the eye of especially a lay person or just a fan, could be different.
सर आजकल तो schedules भी बहुत मतलब internationally भी they're very 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 strict schedules in the sense that the amount of matches cricketers are playing is just insane, right? और आपके भी पूरी जर्नी में पिछले 20-25 साल के look at the fielding and the fitness standards of cricketers have changed, right?
Do you think anybody has played more cricket or hit more number of balls than Virat Kohli?
But वो तो epitome है ना सर.
But he knows how to maintain himself. He does everything that it takes to stay fit.
Yeah.
I've never heard of Kapil Dev sitting out of a match
Because of it.
because of an injury. Never. 434 wickets just didn't come as a birthday gift. He bowled and bowled and bowled in a team which was, it was not the top team of the world. Being an underdog and taking 434 wickets, he must have done something right. Something right. He was never injured because his technique was correct. He was never injured because he did the right kind of fitness. Today, I don't know if I'm right or should I say this at all, but let me attempt this. I think the amount of time that our boys are spending on building muscle in the gym could be a reason why, if properly guided like Virat Kohli, it's fine because he is also doing a lot of work in the gym, but he's doing the right thing. He's not building a beach body to, please someone.
But ये part of coaching नहीं है sir?
It is. But it, like I said, this is something which I have to delegate. I don't know this. This is not my cup of tea. Fortunately for me, I have my sons who are into fitness. So I delegated to them. They have to handle this. But if their mindset is looking good, appearances, ambience, and that kind of things, then there's a problem. Looking good is not essential to be a Virat Kohli. Staying fit, working on the right kind of muscles, tendons and ligaments, preparing yourself, keeping yourself injury free, that's a different thing altogether. So, one is distractions, the other one is the injuries. The third one could be, so many of them, because of their social setup or their financial backgrounds, they drop off. We struggle to, we try and support as an academy. We support quite a lot of them who cannot afford and they're potentially good. We don't charge fees. We take care of them.
Equipments are also expensive.
No, we request Stanford, SG, SS, kindly DSC, Grey Nichols. By virtue of having a store, I have access to all of them. I say, look, this boy is very good. He cannot afford. Can you help? So we get them the scholarship or sponsorship. Not everybody does it. So there are hundreds and thousands of them who fall by the wayside. One thing that I've noticed is someone who loves the game and he cannot afford the equipment tries to become a bowler.
Fair point.
Take Siraj. Take so many of them. They become bowlers.
Kit बहुत महंगी आती है सर, है ना?
बहुत महंगी है. And to match a bat that you see that hits sixes, it's not easy. It's very expensive.
सर एक स्टोरी और सुनानी है आपको. मैंने आपको TED Talk देखा था. And throw ball specialist was a very fascinating story.
Oh my God.
Is he still with the
Indian team?
Yeah? Is he?
Yes.
Sir, बताओ.
Now, this is a very interesting story. We were coming back from a women's national cricket tournament. At the Hubli station, I met an old friend of mine, Mr. Danan Shetty. He brought a young fellow and he said he's very keen on cricket. Can you help him? So, I never said no to anybody, but more so to Danan Shetty I couldn't say because he's been a very good friend and also a good cricketer in his own time. He does a lot of cricket in his region, Hubli. So I said, yes, I will. Let him come to Bangalore and I'll do what I can. Then he said that his background is very poor and all that. He gave me the detail that, so many times he goes without food. And I said, look, I don't have accommodation which you can say he'll stay there. My office, if he's happy living there, he can stay there and I'm happy to support him. And this boy was so keen, he landed up the very next day. And
Yeah, IC Academy.
IC Academy. And then he told me a story that he tried and he had he loves the game, he's so fond, but his action was faulty in the sense chucking. So he went to Achrekar, he went everywhere, he was kind of pushed aside. Nobody really gave him any inputs or whatever. So he said, everywhere I've gone and come back disappointed. Can you help? I said, we'll try. When I'm doing this one-to-ones, you be a part of it. You can I'll train you also. So he tried and he started doing well. His action got right.
Started doing well in bowling.
Bowling. Then Robin was playing for our club. So when Robin came here, he used to bowl to him and all that. So there was one particular tournament, he said, Robin, can we make him play? He said, yes, he's doing well. So initial stages of the game, we were playing some lower division side. So we made him play. He played the league. So now he's feeling good. Because of that, he got very close with Robin. He got close with Manish Pandey. His job was, every morning he used to keep things ready for the fitness work and then do the bowling machine. From the bowling machine, in that period, Robin played India. When he came back from Indian team and is now traveling to West Indies, I think. So he wanted to play some throwdowns which are climbing. Raghavendra was the man, Raghu. He started throwing and he was practicing on a track which was slightly damaged. And I was doing the video. I said, Robin, this will injure you. No, sir, this is what I want to practice. On that slightly, because he wanted that little uneven thing, Robin. This boy, he also loves Robin, so he was trying to be cautious and is doing the accurately, making sure that it's not falling in the pit. So that was his beginning of the throwdowns. From there on, he started doing the throwdowns to all those Manish Pandey. Manish Pandey was Raghu's favorite. So he started doing the throwdowns to first the bowling machine and then the throwdowns. And then Robin and others, they started asking him to come to the KSCA. So at that time, NCA was also in its infancy. So many cricketers were coming. Raghu started throwing down, running the bowling machine. We are the only academy who had a bowling machine, so Raghu had mastered it. He could pitch exactly where, he could swing the ball, he could, all that, he had learnt a lot because by then Raghu was already had more than 3 years. And his first official assignment was with me. He came as an assistant coach for the women's team, Karnataka women's team. And that women's team reached the finals of the national tournament. Raghu was doing throwdowns, Raghu was doing the fielding. He used to hit those high catches, which he was very good at. So he caught everyone's fancy. So women's cricket, men's cricket, everywhere. Then one fine day, he got a break. They gave him an opportunity at the NCA. From there on, Sachin is gone, Ganguly is gone, everyone is gone, but Raghu is still there. When the sidearm came in, he started, instead of throwing down, he started using the sidearm. And he became quite a master of that.
So they travel with the team wherever they go, or it's at the NC or an academy?
No, he travels with the team everywhere. And he's very, very passionate. Extremely
So पहले तो ये सब नहीं होता था ना सर, थ्रोडाउन स्पेशलिस्ट वगैरह
कोई नहीं था पहले.
अभी तो बहुत फील्डिंग कोच इज सेपरेट, एवरीथिंग इज सेपरेट, राइट?
Now everything, it was surprising. For one team, there are 2 buses, 2.5 buses, in the sense 2 big buses and 1 mini bus for an IPL team. This is only the support staff. The players are just that many. There are more support staff. So that is how Raghu, I remember his dad used to call me at odd hours to send him back. I'm a poor man. I've got a photocopy, Xerox shop. I have no hands, I'm not well. He's from Kumta. He says, please send him back. I said, he'll make you happy you don't disturb him. This boy is different. But he would, couple of days later again he would call. Sometimes he would come and say, well, I've come to take him back. Through all that, now Raghu is on a different planet. I think Raghu started there in 2009-10. A good 15-16 years
Very nice.
he's been there.
83 में आप कहाँ थे सर?
83 finals I saw in Bombay.
Okay.
And semi-finals I saw in Bombay and finals I saw in Bangalore.
Okay.
TV was new that time and India 183 all out. Nobody gave any, but heart of hearts, kuch ho jaye, aisa to tha. But I remember that quarters and semi-finals, every street corner there were
One TV.
screens, large screens put up in Bombay. And the kind of euphoria we had was amazing. And that definitely was what changed the Indian cricket scenario completely. It was a complete renaissance. It was something which only those who lived at that time will know. Because we have seen cricket happening, how the cricketers were paid at that time and all that. We hear the stories. But what has happened post the 1983 World Cup victory and the 87 World Cup in India, it's an amazing story.
तो सर नाम तो बताओ. Who's your cricketing hero? If you have to name one.
Well, if I have to name one, yes, there are, I can say two.
Okay.
And they're similar. One is the one who initiated my interest in the game, Gundappa Vishwanath. And the other one who's very, very similar to him is Mohammad Azharuddin. My very good friend, and we've had a lot of interactions and I learnt a lot from him. And I get a lot of learning and blessings from Gundappa Vishwanath as well. So I can say these are the two among the men. So if you ask me about the women cricketers, there are a lot of them that I admire, but the one who's absolutely outstanding is Mithali Raj.
मैंने देखा उन्होंने एक speech दी थी यहाँ पे, है ना?
So Mithali, I think a complete cricketer, and the way she handled the Indian team, the way she's led, and the performances is absolutely wonderful. I'm very happy that all my girls came during her tenure, whether it is Nusheen, Veda Krishnamurthy, Vanita VR, Karuna Jain, all of them, they played with and under Mithali and they've all benefited. I think Mithali has made a lot of cricketers just by her presence and how she went about with her cricket. No controversies, absolutely sticking. And wherever she's gone, whether it is the domestic cricket or whatever, she's had a very good, she's left behind good impressions and encouraged a lot of them to play. A lot of them have taken up to cricket, at least in the past. Now, of course, Smriti and all of them, they are very, very popular thanks to this WPL and the power hitting and all that. But if there's somebody who sustained the interest in the girls up to this recent past, it's Mithali Raj.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your time.
Wonderful. Thank you.
मज़ा आया बात करके.